Howdy doody. Welcome to episode 201 of the Drive-In Podcast. This is Dr. O on the horn to start per usual. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, my best friend, and DIPA Academy member, Ricky Flicks. We are on to our second ever Drive-In Pod award ceremony. How excited are you to look upon what the Drive-In Pod has done for the movie industry, what movies have done for us? This is our annual celebration. Let's get down to it, Ricky Flicks.
This is arguably the best episode of the year. The true award show in the movie industry. Couldn't be more excited to do it with you, Dr. O, another distinguished member of the DIPA Academy. But looking forward to it. Got 18 awards to give out, a little less than the Oscars. It will be a shorter show. You are welcome, audience members, and I'm ready to get going.
Should we run through some of the categories here, Ricky Flicks? Because we have some repeats from last year, we have some slight edits from last year, and we have some completely new ones, right? We still have the staples, including superhero movie of the year. We still have our Plump Boy of the year, which was obviously going to be the last award given this evening or morning, depending on when you're listening. And we have obviously the guest of the year, which we have an interesting metric to decide on. We'll get to that when the award arrives. But then we also have some new ones. We got Wildest Ezra Miller story. We have best Colin Farrell performance, replacing the obvious best Willem Dafoe performance from last season. We have, instead of best performance by a WWE superstar, we've edited it to best performance by an athlete or former athlete. We also have one that I can't wait for, the toughest year for which actor. Ricky Flex, we decided the winners beforehand, at least from the Academy's eyes, and the Academy meaning Dr. O and Ricky Flex. We do have a third party to help decide if there needs to be a tiebreaker, but we will try and negotiate 1-1. Ricky Flex, you want to intro who that tiebreaker is? It's a former guest of the Drive-In Podcast, one that we hope to have on again in the near future. A Looney Tunes aficionado, you might say.
A Looney Tunes aficionado, a buddy, best friendships aficionado, top billing guest, just a frequent listener of the Drive-In Pod, one of the first listeners that really reached out to us. J-Man himself will be a tiebreaker breaker, or honor. I don't know what we want to say, honorary Academy member.
He is a part of the Academy. He's a part of the DIPA Academy, the first one to expand upon Ricky Flicks and Dr. O.
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty much it. And he's sending me the tiebreakers right now. It should be very exciting. And I can't wait to get into this.
And he's working right now. I believe he's a bartender, right? So he is looking at the ones that Ricky Flicks and I were divisive on. If we cannot come to a conclusion on who the winner should be, he will be the tiebreaker. There is a chance me and you could arrive at a stalemate because we've done so many times on this podcast. I'm excited to talk about this because we're coming off the Oscars. We hear about these movies right during Oscar season for months upon end. You've heard us discuss them, but now we're talking about the Drive-In Pod's favorite aspects of movies. It could be headlines from the checkup. It could be favorite superhero movies, amazing trailers that caught our eyes, or ones that maybe let us down a little bit. All I know is, Ricky Flex, I wish I could go back and look at our nominees and add more Everything Everywhere All at Once, not because it just won Best Picture, but Ricky Flex, I'm the one responsible for our YouTube. I'm the one who's posting, making the captions, adding those hashtags. What I've noticed is whenever I put Everything Everywhere All at Once in as a focus of one of these videos that we post, the engagement goes up tenfold. And that is a good and bad thing. I've noticed the likes and dislikes. It's not anymore where it's 100% likes rather opposed to like 66% or 50%. It is a very divisive crowd when you talk about Everything Everywhere All at Once. And you have like those who support it will defend it till they die. They will defend it to their grave. And they will just assume that we're talking trash about it. But I got to talk them down in the comments. And as I say before, I have said before, every one of our podcasts, if you comment, we will comment back. Guess what? Check out our feed on YouTube. I am going in the trenches with these Everything Everywhere All at Once fans. I'm in the trenches taking grenades, John, taking grenades here. And I am defending Everything Everywhere All at Once against these Everything Everywhere All at Once supporters when they think I'm trying to combat them. I got these movie nerds that are on top of me, these cinephiles who they're trying to defend these movies, and they're pretty much inspecting every single word that we say. And I almost want to just respond, dude, we record twice a week. This isn't our first upload. We say some things. We don't have the most expansive vocabulary. We're not Merriam-Webster, right? Noah Webster, whatever. Merriam-Webster. We're not Noah Webster. We didn't invent these words. We're just ones that expand upon movies that we like. And we do our best when it comes to the Oscars, giving you the latest news in Hollywood and our takes. Some of them hot, some of them scorching hot, some of them very neutral. I've been accused of pandering. I've been accused of this and that. All I got to say is I thank you for commenting. I'm trying to be polite as possible, and I want to engage in a discourse that helps everyone learn more about movies. Ricky Flux, have you dove into these comments? Have you seen what I've been dealing with?
You're in the trenches. You're in the trenches. You're dealing with a lot of Everything Everywhere All at Once truthers out there when they're not really truthers. It's a great movie. It's a fantastic movie.
They think we hate it.
It just had one of the all-time runs at the Oscars. It's in the same breath as Silence of the Lambs, one who flew over the cuckoo's nest, on the waterfront. Like it is on what
West
happened
Side
one
Story.
night.
It's just
West,
like it's there.
It is in that pantheon. It's not outrageous to say. You could say it had a better run. Listen to this. You could say it had a better run than Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. You could say it. You could say that if you value certain awards.
In this day and age of free agency, Ricky Flicks, when anyone could be signed.
You could say with the performance awards added on to Best Picture and editing and directing, you could say that's more powerful than Return of the King. You honestly could. So for anyone that's a Everything Everywhere All at Once truther, we're with you. It's just that, hey, we've been listening to the 11th month Oscar campaign, and maybe we're a little tired. I'll speak for myself. I am a little tired of it. I rewatched it twice. I'm a little tired of Everything Everywhere right now. I'm a little everything out. Let's just move on. Let's have a great 2023. This movie year is going to be light years ahead of 2022, and I'm super excited for it. But we have to officially conclude 2022 with the DIPAs, as always.
Award season is never over until the DIPAs have arrived. And guess what? They are here. Once the DIPAs are over, we are on to bigger and better things. We have so many electric shows out right now. I just ended with The Last of Us. Mandalorian happening right now. Ted Lasso just started. We have Succession coming up. And then, not to mention, the movies that we have arriving. We get Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I am not committed to seeing. Ricky Flicks definitely is.
Committed.
Ricky is. And like, I'm still not opposed to the idea where Ricky Flicks goes to see Shazam and I decide to go at the same time and go see a different movie. And then we meet up and do a live review. That's still on the table. But then not only that, we got John Wick 4, like early reception saying it's the greatest action movie ever made, the best in the franchise thus far. We have Super Mario Brothers coming up. There is release upon release. Bo is afraid. We're doing an A24 deep dive. We're doing our first historical themed timeline podcast. I've been preparing that. Preparing that. You'll probably get it in the next month. It's going to be electric. The most successful movie studio at the Oscars in the last decade. We will be breaking down from the jump. I cannot wait to get to that. We're offering so many new things in this next year of the Drive-In podcast. We're growing, we're expanding. Instagram is booming. It's going to play a key role into our guest of the year. You'll soon find out. I can't wait for what the future holds, Ricky Flicks. There is so much positives to gain from. I'm not taking any crap from these Everything Everywhere All at Once stands. All I said is, how will this movie age? And I created a bonanza.
You know what? I think Everything Everywhere had its time. It's going to have its time again next year at the Oscars when literally every single one of them are presenting the next award for 2024. But it's over. After today, it's over. We'll get through today. We'll celebrate its praises, but then it's over and we move on to 2023.
The gall of some of these commenters, they're saying that Top Gun Maverick will not age well. I'm like, do you know how many people care about Top Gun Maverick? How many were disappointed it didn't get the recognition at the Oscars? How many people that came up to me as a movie podcaster, a semi-successful movie podcaster, and said, what did Top Gun Maverick win at the Oscars? That's the only movie anyone cared
Best
about.
sound, biatch.
How many times did someone come up to me and say, who won the Oscars? You know, they didn't care. If Top Gun Maverick won the Oscar for Best Picture, guess what? They wouldn't have asked me that question. They would have already known because they care about that movie, right? Can't wait to see what the future holds for that potential franchise or even how that movie is received as time goes on. And I still commit it's going to be remembered better than Everything Everywhere All at Once. I hopefully don't have to delete that for the YouTube. All right. I think it's time we get to our first award of the episode, Ricky Flex. Are you ready to dive in?
DIPAs, we're here. Let's enter. Let's go.
All right. We have entered. So the first award we have is Best Superhero Movie. We have 4 nominees. We chopped it down. Of course, there's not only 4 superhero movies coming out in 2022, but we gave the ones that we think were the best, or the Academy did. The Batman is a nominee. We have Werewolf by Night, technically a TV special, but we thought it was good enough to enter into the greatest superhero movie of 2022 sphere. We got Wakanda Forever and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. 3 Marvel entries, 1 DC entry. Who comes out on top? Drum roll, please. The winner for Best Superhero Movie is The Batman from director Matt Reeves.
Snaps.
Ricky Flex, looking at this group, it had so much hope. Wakanda Forever, the sequel to a Best Picture nominated Black Panther. We got Werewolf by Night. Honestly, my second place on the list. I thought I did a nice job. Only an hour-long TV special, but captured what is possible in the MCU when not every movie aesthetically looks the same. When you capture the actual horror genre from director Michael Giacchino, we love the direction that Marvel horror is going in, which lends into the last nominee, Doctor Strange, into the Multiverse of Madness, a movie that had sky-high expectations, grosses nearly $1 billion. But Sam Raimi really you only feel his presence for about half of that movie. The Batman is the clear-cut winner here. Ricky Flex, was there ever a doubt?
Never a doubt. Movie should have been nominated for Best Picture. There, I said it. This was a landslide. This might be the easiest award of the night, most predictable winner of the night. Similar to like an Avatar Way of Water winning Best Visual Effects at the Oscars last week. This was the easiest pick.
I think so too. Just the phase 4 of it all, the downgrade of Marvel, trying to live up to phase 3, the less of a cohesive vision. Hopefully phase 5 picks it up. There is some hope, but I mean, are we DC going forward? We got James Gunn directing, right? Superman Legacy confirmed. It's going to be on the Checkup later episode dropping this week. I think DC might be the way to go. We love the DC characters, right? Marvel movies we can acknowledge have been at a higher quality than DC movies in the past decade. Ever since the Nolan trilogy and the explosion of the MCU into phase 1, 2, and 3, the Batman gives us hope, right? What is possible? The Penguin series being shot right now, and then the revamping, and they're going to leave Matt Reeves' universe alone. We're in good hands with James Gunn. We're in good hands with Matt Reeves. Easiest award of the evening. Okay. Next award, Best Extended Cameo. Best Extended Cameo. We have 4 nominees here, 2 from the same movie. We have as our first nominee Judd Hirsch from The Fabelmans, directed by Steven Spielberg. We also have Academy Award nominated, I should say, Val Kilmer from Top Gun Maverick. We also have Ed Harris nominated from Top Gun Maverick. And then The Illuminati, led by Professor X, returning, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Patrick Stewart. Ricky Flicks, let's get to the winner. And we are unanimous that the best extended cameo of the year goes to Val Kilmer.
Val.
Snaps all around for our boy Val. An emotional punch to Top Gun Maverick. You had to have Iceman involved. And they think they used him properly for a guy who is going through some health struggles. People didn't know he was going to appear at all. He added that extra layer of emotion beyond just the Top Gun and Rooster type of element. Rooster being Goose's son. I'm so happy we were on the same page with Val Kilmer. I was starting to think you were going to go Judd Hirsch, excuse me.
It's all about respect. Shout out Jersey Jerry. Val Kilmer, never a doubt in this award. The way he was utilized, not only it was shocking to see him on screen, able to be on screen and act next to Tom Cruise. But remember, we're like, oh, if he's in the movie, are they gonna actually like is he gonna live through the movie and whatnot? And they killed him in the movie. That was incredibly shocking. They had the balls to do that.
Yeah,
but they did it. They had the wishes from Val himself. But I just want to shout out Ed Harris in the same movie.
Oh,
unreal opening scenes with him. Awesome. Judd Hirsch, overrated. I have gripes. He was never winning this award. Bradley Cooper, DIPA award winner for this award last year. Congrats to you once again. You're unbelievable. Can't wait for Maestro. But you mentioned the Illuminati and one Patrick Stewart, Professor X. Let's not forget the other members in this Illuminati. John Krasinski, the hype around Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards. The movie theater was, or at least the movie theater we were in, was balls to the wall when he showed up to the screen.
Buzzing. I punched you.
Insane. They actually did it. They listened to the fans. Kevin Feige actually listened to fans on a fan casting. Unbelievable. Gives us hope for the rest of the fan casting, for the rest of the Fantastic Four, or redoing Reed Richards. We don't know yet. But this is a great award, one of my favorites of the DIPAs, and congratulations, Val Kilmer.
Best extended cameo lends to the franchise genres that we adore, that we emphasize on the Drive-In podcast. Ed Harris, I loved. Ed Harris was my number 2 here, and that is primarily because I never saw The Fabelmans. And I apologize for that on the Oscar preview and recap pods. Check them out if you haven't done so already. This is why the Drive-In pod, the DIPAs, are different than the Oscars. Everyone's going to point to Judd Hirsch, but who actually saw Judd Hirsch in The Fabelmans? Everyone saw Val Kilmer. Ricky Flicks raises his hand. The Illuminati went out like such bitches, bro. They went out so easy against Wanda Maximoff. I was thinking too, like seeing like all these people get shriveled up. Fantastic Four. I got that nice moment. I was like, it was less about John Krasinski. Just like we've had that massive buildup since WandaVision that we were going to get Mr. Fantastic. And then we finally get him. I'm like, oh my God, let's go. And then to see him get shriveled up into bits like spaghetti, I was just like, I guess we didn't really need him. Right.
Yeah.
My excitement immediately dissipated. And I was just like, okay, now I have to like focus on Doctor Strange and Wanda Maximoff carrying this movie. When you just like pulled at my heartstrings a little bit with Mr. Fantastic and Professor X.
Professor X was good. Like Patrick Stewart was good in Multiverse of Madness. Let's not forget that. He was actually good. John Krasinski clearly like shot his scenes separately than a Cumberbatch, which kind of rubbed me the wrong way after the movie. But in all, like it was just fun to actually see him in the suit. The fan casting actually was true. Very cool, but was never going to win this award either.
It's time to move on to the next award, Ricky Flex. And we are going to Best Needle Drop. Honestly, one of my favorite awards that the Drive-In Pod does. We don't honor Best Score. We don't honor best quote unquote soundtrack. We honor the best use of music in a movie in a particular moment. And we have a strong crop of nominees this year.
What
Somewhat.
a crop.
Here are the crops. So we have
I think you should leave, coming out in a few months.
our first nominee. We have another Top Gun Maverick nominee. We have Won't Get Fooled Again. We have The Batman, Something in the Way from Nirvana. I should say also The Who, Won't Get Fooled Again for any of the younger listeners. We also have November Rain from Guns N' Roses and Thor Love and Thunder, probably the only redeeming quality of that movie aside from Christian Bale. We have Running Up That Hill from Stranger Things. We have a TV show intersecting on the DIPAs, just like Werewolf by Night did. It was that impactful. It was that, I guess, significant, right, with the culture. And then finally, right, the dark horse of this race, we have Ricky Tikki Tavi from Barbarian. Shout out Justin Long. Also is a nominee later on in the DIPAs. And the winner goes to drum roll. Something in the Way by Nirvana, The Batman, the second DIPA on the episode for our favorite superhero movie of the year. Ricky Flicks, was it ever in doubt?
This is a tough one. I Won't Get Fooled Again was great, but it was not going to be Something in the Way. Just wasn't. November Rain, bad movie, couldn't have won. Ricky Tikki Tavi was cool, but I think just, I don't know, Barbarian, great movie as well, just not the same impact with not a lot of people seeing it. So it came down to Running Up That Hill and Something in the Way. It's like, all right, I almost said Ricky Tikki Tavi. Running Up That Hill, like, big cultural impact, great on TikTok, but like, what was better use? Yes, like Stranger Things, it was good, but like Something in the Way had a presence throughout that entire movie, and that movie was phenomenal. So Something in the Way for me was the clear winner here.
And it was something about having a commercial song in a Batman movie. People were like, wow, when's the last time we saw this? You have to go back to like 1989. You got to go to like Prince, or you have to go to Seal with like Kiss from a Rose and Batman Forever. Here, and that was made specifically, it was the original song for that motion picture. Something in the Way, like, you thought this Batman, like, oh, is this going to be the most grounded Batman story that we've gotten since the Nolan trilogy? And therefore, like, you saw in the trailer Something in the Way being used. And you could argue it was used even better in the trailer. I wish almost they didn't use it in the trailer. They saved it for the theater experience. It was perfect. And we saw the inspiration that Nirvana took in a Kurt Cobain-esque, like, Robert Pattinson playing Bruce Wayne. It was a great tease of what's to come, the pain that he's gone through. And there was no other choice in my eyes. It was the best use of music. It was a commercial song that didn't feel like it was up to anything other than applying to the story, enhancing the story. That was number one for sure. Won't Get Fooled Again. So good. It was like Maverick is back, seeing him in the air, like, and like with the and then he's just scrolling through, and then we're doing push-ups, doing it. I'm like, okay, now we're back in it, baby. This is like the action moments we're looking for, the fun action moments, right? No one's dying or anything. It's not a Mission Impossible scene. It's just fun action. And then November Rain, going through that one, you think of the immigrant song used in Ragnarok, and that's one of my favorite moments in the history of the MCU. Like Thor coming down to like dun 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 dun. I love that moment so much. And the not bad. Amazing moment. Running Up That Hill, overplayed. Honestly, Ricky Tikki Tavi was my number 2. That was the tempo change in Barbarian that laid it as a top 5 movie of the year in my opinion. Coming off that first act, that highly tenuous situation between, right, the leads in that movie, right, with Bill Skarsgård at the center of it all. That was number 2. But yeah, nothing's going to be Something in the Way. All right. Next. Most self-indulging movie. This is a theme of the Drive-In podcast that we've kind of been driving home into our audiences the last few months during award season, we have these directors. They want to tell their story. They want to make sure that they are nominated at the Academy Awards. Here are the nominees for most self-indulging movie. We have The Fabelmans from director Steven Spielberg. We have Bardo from Alejandro Iñárritu. And then we have Armageddon Time from James Gray. And the DIPA goes to Bardo, Alejandro Iñárritu, released on Netflix. Snaps around.
I guess.
Ricky Flex, yep. Those are kind of regretful snaps. It's we're not proud of these movies. Oh, we're proud of the Fabelmans. We're proud of the Fabelmans. Ricky Flex. Guess what? I haven't seen any of these movies. So when I was like putting as a member of the Academy, I had to put forth a nomination. I just see like I was thinking about watching it before the DIPAs, and
not worth it.
I see that still of like when I turn on my Netflix and it's like recommending Bardo to me, and it's like the lead character just like opening his hands, like dancing. I'm just like, I've heard so many negative things about this movie, how he is so obsessed with himself with Iñárritu. I like, to me, that sold it. You've seen the movie, so I'll let you expand.
This movie was so long, and I really didn't like this movie. Like, at least like Armageddon Time, like, you know, like I kind of feel bad for James Gray, like growing up, like he had a good family and everything, but like, you know, just a little prejudice there, or big prejudice there. So I feel like kind of bad. Fableman's just a fantastic movie. And then like at least he changed his name and everything, but you know it's Steven Spielberg. But Bardo, not only was it a bad movie, it tried to like give this clever twist ending that was going through the whole movie, making you confused. And it's supposed to be like, oh, like here it is. It's like, wait, what? Like you'd think that this movie was good enough to do that. And then on top of that, we're supposed to feel bad for this guy who's basically being Alejandro Iñárritu, but in a documentary form. Like he's a documentary filmmaker. And he's like the best in the industry. And we're supposed to feel bad for him because he left his home and sold out to go to LA to become big time. It's like, no, dude, like I'm not going to feel bad for you. You have friends still. You have a great family. Like, I really didn't get it. I thought, well, I get it. I just think that it's pathetic, to be honest, and so self-indulgent. This was also a never in doubt. Like the Batman was so clearly above. Like you could say, like, oh, like self-indulgent. You have two different wires. For me, the Bardo was absolutely ridiculous. And not only like at least the Fabelmans is a great movie. Armageddon Time is a good movie. Bardo is a bad movie. So that also played effect. This was easily the DIPA winner.
Yeah, because it has like a negative connotation for self-indulgent movie. Like you also want to say like the one that didn't work out of all of them. Like it is an insult to win this DIPA. That's why when we snapped, you're like reluctantly snapping. You're like, I guess like we're snapping. But DIPA award winner, Alejandro Iñárritu for most self-indulgent movie. All right, next. We have a very interesting category, best fight sequence. Let me give you the nominees and then we'll dive in because me and Ricky are torn and we may have to go to our third party, our third member of the Academy for this decision. Nominees are for best fight sequence: The Northman, The Berserker Raid, led by the bear himself, Alexander Skarsgård. We have Everything Everywhere All at Once, Wayman vs. Security from now Academy Award winner Ke Huy Quan. We have Namor, Invasion of Wakanda. We also have The Batman. We have two scenes from The Batman because you know we love it that much. The I'm Vengeance moment within the first 10 minutes of the movie, our introduction to Robert Pattinson's new take on the Caped Crusader. And then we also have The Batman, the Iceberg Lounge scene when he meets the twins and he goes ham before meeting the Penguin. We have The Woman King, the opening scene featuring Viola Davis and company, and also Lashana Lynch, my favorite person in that movie, taking on a rival tribe. And then finally, the RRR moment, the animals, right, alongside Beam, trying to rescue his sister. So here is the situation, Ricky Flicks. We are conflicted. Ricky Flicks votes The Batman. Ricky Flicks, can you elaborate on which moment you're referring to in the Batman for best fight sequence?
So I'm sure everyone remembers. I know we have a lot of new audience members, so maybe not them. But last year we had the same award, and who won that time? It was the Batman on Vengeance from the trailer.
Uh-huh.
Now you're probably gonna say, "Oh, like I saw the trailer so many times, it wore off in the movie." So this impact. No, no, no. That doesn't change the fact that it's still amazing, and it's already a reigning DIPA winner. So I am voting that it should win again. It's just that amazing. I wouldn't even have Wayman versus Security as my number 2 here. I like the WWE superstar. I do think the Wayman versus Security is better than that scene. The Jamie Lee Curtis opening up her hands, like the guy, that was very funny. Like I think Wayman is better. There's the shock factor with the fanny pack. It's great. The chapstick, how weird it is, really tells you what kind of movie this is going to be. But the Batman is the Batman, and yes,
The On Vengeance scene.
the On Vengeance, like that was our intro to the Batman and this new Batman, similar to Wayman, but we're using arguably the greatest comic book character of all time. So I'm going with the Batman.
Okay, Ricky Flex. So I'll start with I picked Wayman versus the Security here. I wanted to show some love for Everything Everywhere All at Once through, right, the DIPAs here. I think this is the only nomination we have for Everything Everywhere All at Once. 7-time Oscar winner, sweeps every major category that it gets nominated for. But that's not what the DIPAs are about. So I understand. Initially, I had the Batman on Vengeance scene, but I started to think about it. Was the on Vengeance scene the best fight scene in that movie? And I kind of think the Iceberg Lounge was better. The best moment of that trailer for the Batman was, right, the On Vengeance. The same thing, though. He's fighting a bunch of like wannabe thugs.
Same with Security for Wayman.
Yeah, but he's also using a fanny pack to kick their ass. That was like the moment. And it's like so unexpected that Ki Kwan was going to be that guy to take on these people. And that's where it's like that movie kicked it up a notch. That movie kind of starts slow. If you guys can recall, all the listeners, Everything Everywhere All at Once. It takes me a while to kind of get kicked in. I'm like, they really ingrain you into like the family structure, right? Relationship between Ki Kwan's character and Michelle Yeoh's, Stephanie Sue with her mother, and then going to the tax office, meeting Jamie Lee Curtis. It takes a while to get going, but once he whips out that fanny pack and he does like old Kill Bill with it, I'm like, oh, this movie's actually turning it on, right? They're hitting another gear right now, right when it needs to. But the Iceberg Lounge scene, when he meets the twins, he says, "Do you know?" It's like almost like the vengeance you talk about, the dialogue there, but also when he says to the twins, like, I don't want to get any blood on that suit. He's like, mine or yours. And then he like proceeds to walk in, punches them both out. Then he walks in and struts, and then he goes at it. And then we got the music, the techno just bopping, and like a very indistinct song. And he just going ham before he meets the Penguin, throws a bat, nails that dude in the face. I would say the lounge scene is a better fight sequence rather than just beating up some random guys. These guys work for the Penguin. Are you thinking Iceberg Lounge can rival the On Vengeance? Or are you still sold in that line?
I think it'd rival it. Like John Wick 4 comes out next weekend. Like we could do like I was thinking like best action franchises for a top billing, but we could do best like club fight scenes for a top billing, and that would make it like for sure. But like same thing for Everything Ever All at Once. You have the WWE scene. You have the whipping around scene when she's like the sign flipper. Yeah, that
was
scene
a great scene too.
Like God. You have and the end scene, like the guy when he's jumping on like the ward with his ass. Like you have a bunch of great fight sequences just in that movie. So we can make the same argument. You could do the same thing for the Northman. Like all these movies, The Woman King are like these were great. I just think that we need to bring up since we're both different. We went to our tiebreaker.
I think we have to go to the tiebreaker, Ricky Flex. That's why I wanted to make us both have us explain both of our sides. I think we have to choose what the third member of the Academy, J-Man, said, and he recommended neither Dr. O or Ricky Flex's pick. He went with the Northman. And the more I think about it, the more I kind of like it, right? we have these, like, honestly, and I'm not talking about the Gates of Hell naked scene. I'm not all about that, right? I'm out on that. I'm out.
Was kind of epic,
I'm
but
not
yes.
looking. I'm not looking for, like, obviously the volcano going off at the same time, right? But like, I don't want to see, like, it's almost like Simba versus Scar, but naked. Like, it's just like, Jesus, that's kind of weird. Here, I think you got to go the Berserker raid, right? Climbing the walls, climbing the fortress, walking in, and you think about Alexander Skarsgård, how physical of a role that was to play in the Northman, and that was like before we truly knew what he was capable of, right? That was just like, oh my God, this guy is a force to be reckoned with. You saw these guys basically weren't human. They took on animal form, and Alexander Skarsgård just did about 300 push-ups before he did that scene, is clearly obvious. But I think I like this because the Batman has so many you can pick from. Everything Everywhere All at Once has so much you can pick from. The Berserker scene in Northman, it's like, okay, we'll settle on that.
Okay, I'm good with that too. That was an epic scene. I just wish more people saw the Northman, and it's on Peacock now, which is like, I wish it was on like a bigger streamer.
This is exactly why we have a third party in the Academy for things like this. Great job. Great job from our guy J-Man. Former DIPA nominee.
So Northman.
Yes. Best fight sequence.
Love it.
Northman, Berserker, Raid. Berserker. Love it. All right. Let's go on. 2. I don't want to do. Okay, let's do it. Toughest year. Toughest year. We have 4 nominees, and Ricky Flex and I are split again. I don't know if we're going to go to the third member of the Academy for this one. The nominees for toughest year for an actor, we have Idris Elba for 3,000 Years of Longing. He was also in Beast, that lion horror movie. We have Will Smith, obviously engaged in the slap, right? Last Oscars, took the brunt of the hit at this year's Oscars, and then does Emancipation, has Oscar hopes, kind of falls flat on its face. Apple TV release that no one saw. You see him on his Instagram promoting the movie that no one gives a crap about. Then John David Washington. What was it? So he was in Amsterdam this year. What was the other John David Washington movie?
He was coming off of Beckett.
Beckett. Okay. Beckett on Netflix. And then Harry Styles from Don't Worry, Darling and My Policeman. Ricky Flex is torn. Not torn, but the vote is torn. Ricky Flex knows who he wants to pick. Ricky Flex, who do you have for this year?
I went with Will Smith. The slap, getting banned for 10 years from the Academy. Like, after winning the Academy Award, ruining your own speech and ruining it was supposed to be your night over the Best Picture winner. It was going to be your night, and you ruined it. And then Emancipation on top of that was a flop. So he had a tough year, and he's going to have a tough 10 years maybe. My second place was Harry Styles. Problem is, he did win Best Album of the Year, music-wise. So okay. I'm just saying, like, that is like... So Idris Elba, I think, had a bad month. Back-to-back weeks, he had Beast and 3,000 Years of Longing. And those were both combined like less than $5 million at the box office, I think, domestically. Terrible. And also not the greatest movies. So he had a really bad year. And John David Washington, I just don't put him up at that level to the rest of these guys. I don't think he's there yet. I don't think he'll ever get there. So I don't really want to pick him. That's just mean, I think. So Will Smith was my pick.
All right. So I'll make my case for Harry Styles because he's had the toughest year for an actor. Okay. He is a guy who wanted to go into movies. Like he's teased in the post credits for Eternals. He's going to be like this sex god. He's going to be the brother of Thanos. He's this dude named Eros. He's going to be a huge part of Eternals 2, as people think. But all of a sudden people ask about Eros, like what's going to happen with this character. And all of a sudden things become a little bit unsure, right? Is he going to have a major focus in the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Well, judging by his most recent performances, I would guess he might even be like a forget about it type of cameo. I don't know if they're going to trust him in the MCU. despite the acting performances we've seen in the MCU. I think Harry Styles with Don't Worry Darling had his chance, right? Replacing Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf and Don't Worry Darling makes a cameo later on, is nominated for the DIPAs for a award that we'll disclose later. But Harry Styles, I think his acting career got destroyed this year. I think he was kind of exposed. People had such high hopes going into Don't Worry Darling, and then seeing him perform there and just get absolutely outclassed by Florence Pugh and see incel Harry Styles and then go to My Policeman and then be harshly criticized, right, for his performance once again in a prospective Oscar-nominated film. I think he's lost all the trust in cinephiles, in movie fans. I don't think people think he has chops anymore after 2022. That's why I think he is the guy to pick here. Will Smith was going to continue to be in movies. He's going to be in Bad Boys 4, right? He's going to be in whatever project he kind of decides. The slap will fade. The slap will fade. It's only been 1 year, right?
Even if it's a tough year. This is the toughest year, DIPA.
But like Will Smith is known more for action movies than he is for the Oscars anyway. Right? His appeal will still be there for action movies down the line. I don't think he's going to, I think as time goes on, he'll still do his action thing, right? One of the greatest action stars of our generation, even previous to us. So I think Will Smith, yes, he was more of the loser immediately at the beginning of the year, but Harry Styles just got supremely exposed.
I think you're forgetting that Nate Moore, big Marvel producer, produced like the Captain America's, Winter Soldier and Civil Wars, doing New World Order, did the Black Panther and Wakanda Forever. He confirmed that Harry Styles is coming back to the MCU. So it's not like he's gone. He is coming back. They do trust him.
But he's coming back in Eternals too, like the most like looked down upon movie in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's like he can kind of get overshadowed by the fact that the movie is bigger than Harry Styles, you know? I don't think it's not like people are going to say that, oh, Harry Styles is in this movie, I'm not going to see it, right? It's more of like this movie is like the most lackluster performing critically in the history of the MCU alongside Quantumania.
Yeah, but it's still the MCU. People will go see him.
I mean, are we going to we're going to have to go potentially to our tiebreaker here.
No offense to J-Man. He did a great job.
I don't like his pick either.
We could go to the wheel with all three of them.
You have the wheel?
I do. Wait, have we said what he picked?
No. I don't know if I want to say it. So J-Man, as a tiebreaker, decided not to go with either of our decisions like he didn't go with. I don't know if he understood the assignment, to be honest. I was hoping that J-Man was going to understand. He's got to pick one side or the other, and he's just picking what he thinks is right. He picked John David Washington as the winner for toughest year for an actor. And I hope it's because he didn't know what he was supposed to do.
Oh, well, I didn't tell him to pick a side. I told him I gave him the nominee.
It ain't John David Washington. He wasn't big enough as it is. Like Harry Styles and Will Smith are like at the top of the top, dude, in terms of pop culture. So like this is where I see the rivalry brewing here. If you want to say Will Smith, I'm just gonna remember that in the future when we have to decide another award. He did take the slap. He got the brunt of. He just had like that.
Harry Styles also allegedly spat on somebody. People forget.
Yeah, he spit on somebody.
Allegedly.
Right? He had a tough. He came out of that Don't Worry Darling movie pretty scarred, dude.
I'm fine going to the wheel.
Let's go wheel. Let's go wheel to decide the pick. Ricky Flicks is pulling it up right now. And do you have it up?
Sorry, I'm sharing my screen. So
he's sharing it. Okay, that's why. So you can see it. You hear the bing. Here we go.
All right, you see it?
Dr. O and Ricky Flex. Yep, we see it. And the DIPA goes to Harry Styles for toughest year for an actor. Toughest year for an actor. Okay. The wheel has spoken. We move on to the next award. Best performance by an athlete. This used to be best performance by a WWE superstar. The nominees read Nnamdi Asomugha for The Good Nurse. Nnamdi Asomugha, we know, former cornerback for the Oakland Raiders, the Philadelphia Eagles, Dream Team Eagles. Dave Bautista, former WWE superstar, a nominee in this category last year when it was formerly named. He has performances Knock at the Cabin and Glass Onion, Knives Out Story. Anthony Edwards, right? Current NBA basketball player for the Minnesota Timberwolves, nominated for Hustle. And then we have former nominee The Rock for Black Adam and Red Notice. So we are in agreement here. The best performance by an athlete goes to Dave Bautista.
Yeah,
Ricky
Dave.
Flicks, honestly, I would have picked Dave Bautista in either of these roles, and I think he wins the award, particularly with Knock at the Cabin, though. All right. Knock at the Cabin is the one where he showed the range, the one that he's been teasing, the one that he has been clamoring that, hey, I can be a leading man. I'm more than an action star. I want to be known for as a great thespian, compared to, let's say, The Rock. He's sick of the comparisons. He separates himself with the latest M. Night movie. And then also he's in Glass Onion. He's more prototypical jock mode. Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista was the move here.
Yeah, holiday special, Guardians. Who's good in that. Obviously a special. Easily Dave Bautista. Knock at the Cabin. Best part in that movie. Very good. And yeah, he's killing The Rock right now. I'll just say The Rock, I don't think he was bad in Black Adam. The movie was bad. I just don't think he was good. I thought it was just okay. Like he did it. Clearly he cared. He tried, and I don't think he was bad. It's just he wasn't very good. Anthony Edwards and Namni Asama are like the two, like, wow, like shockers, like did very well. Usually very hard to like do well acting while you're like after your career being an athlete, you know. Anthony Edwards is literally a young rising star in the NBA, potential superstar if he isn't already. And he, you know, he's a comfortability being a basketball player, just talking trash, but he still was very good in that movie. And then you have Namni Asamoah when you got me watching The Good Nurse thinking, who is this up and coming actor? I don't know who he is. I look him up. I don't even recognize his name. You remember this, if you're a frequent listener of the Drive-In Pod, I'm like, there's this guy, Namni Asamoah. And then you were like, that's Namni Asamoah. And I'm like, well, he was the best part in this movie because he was amazing in The Good Nurse next to Jessica Chastain, Oscar winner, Eddie Redmayne, Oscar winner, like amazing job, but not enough. He has a great start to his career now. Still don't know. I want to know how he got that part. I want to know how.
Namdi?
Yeah,
because he was a model too. He was a model.
So I guess that's how. But like, end of the day, it's Dave Bautista. It had to be. But
one of the
kudos
best
to
moments.
those guys.
One of the best moments at the drive-in this year when you were trying to pronounce Namdi Asamoah's name, and I'm like, dude, you have no idea who you're talking about. Like you are like, I used to think you were a sports fan first, and I think times have changed. Like I'm like Namdi Asamoah, dude. Do you remember watching Sports Center in like the 6th grade and you're seeing his name flash across the screen? Big bucks, $120 million contract for a quarterback. Like what the hell's going on? Honestly, The Rock is probably second. You know,
see, not to me.
Like to me, it's like I thought The Rock. I was like, he is exactly what I thought he was going to be as like an anti-hero. Like he acted like he was still stone faced. Like he was even when he was like adding the comedic humor, he was still the comedic timing and whatever the humor it was infused there. It was like very serious. He seemed like he was an alien dropping in on a planet, not knowing how other people behave, and that's what the character called for. Right? This guy's been in basically hibernation for centuries. So I don't know. I thought he did okay. I can't say I'm too upset that his franchise will not get to continue under the new James Gunn's regime for DC, but it's it's fine. It's not a big deal.
It's fine. Yeah.
It's kind of good.
Good job. Not a winner.
I wouldn't mind if he still continued, and then like if Shazam is going to continue, we have these positive reviews coming in for DC's Fear of the Gods. But if Shazam continues, I think that's a chance for The Rock to continue. Like, get rid of the JSA. We don't care about them, but have The Rock still play Black Adam.
But will he be in a movie that's Shazam 3 or Shazam versus Black Adam?
Is he willing to take his hands off the wheel, dude?
Right. That's basically what it's going to have to come down to, I think. I think he'll never get his own movie again. No. I think that time's over. It's not like the words that are coming to my brain is like backseat, but it's not backseat. You're a villain role in a DC movie, in
Yeah.
a successful franchise. Because I'm sorry, Dr. O, but it looks like Shazam 2 is at least decent. So it's like,
Damn it.
it's like that's probably gonna get a green lit for a third movie. And Black Adam's easily the villain everyone's thinking about. So will he agree to that?
Damn.
I don't know. Is his ego too big? I don't know. But he should agree to it because his career, if he wants to keep playing Black Adam, if he supposedly saying this is a dream role, he'll keep playing it. It doesn't matter if he's the leading man or the second guy.
Zach Levi's kind of forcing my hand to go see this.
Big vaccine guy.
Who knew that? Who knew that he was going to be the guy to force me to see this movie? And who knew that? I mean, they talk about how Wonder Woman, how DC characters under the Snyderverse, according to James Gunn, are going to be able to complete their trilogy. Like Aquaman, Momoa will be able to complete his trilogy. Probably, obviously, Wonder Woman, or Gal Gadot is going to be able to complete her trilogy, even if it's not under Patty Jenkins. So, I mean, Shazam, he looks like he's going to be able to complete his trilogy. Will he be carried over with like this new multiverse shakeup? Who knows? Next DIPA award for the episode is Breakout Star. This is a very eclectic group here, Ricky Flex. We have a long list along with some honorable mentions. Let's go through the honorable mentions first, if you don't mind. Madeline Klein, who was in Glass Onion, Knives Out Story, the partner of Dave Bautista in that movie. You got Aubrey Plaza, who had Emily the Criminal this year. Also had White Lotus season 2. I thought in an excellent role. Daisy Edgar Jones, you could say fresh with Sebastian Stan, Where the Crawdads Sing, known for Normal People alongside Paul Mescal, Academy Award nominee and future leader of the Gladiator franchise, Gladiator 2, with Barry Keoghan as his sidekick there as the villain. Tena Huerta for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Let's get to the nominees. Any thoughts on the honorable mentions, Ricky?
Yeah, Daisy Edgar Jones, like her breakout role was Normal People, but like this year was kind of like cemented, like, oh, okay, Under the Banner of Heaven next to Andrew Garfield as well, like that.
Oh, yep, good point.
Also a big one.
Good in that.
Madeline Klein, like, yeah, she had Outer Banks, but like this was like, oh, we're doing this now.
Is that what she's in? I know.
So okay, and Aubrey Plaza and Adam Scott was like they were in Parks and Rec darlings, but it's like, will they be anything bigger than that? Well, Severance and White Lotus and Emily the Criminal say otherwise. So now, like, they're up there. And obviously, we saw Tena Huerta and Wakanda Forever. So, and all like honorable mentions, like, great job. But I think after these nominees here, you'll understand why they don't make the cut.
Yeah. And then Adam Scott's always been around, but it's just like, it's what he's a leading guy on a TV show, right? Arguably the best of the year with Severance. It's like, okay, we got to kind of put some respect on his name now. Tena Huerta has been around like Narcos and things like that. But at the same time, you're like, oh, he could be a mainstay in the MCU, you know, leading up to the Avenger movies and future Black Panther movies, and it may be his own spinoff. Who knows? Let's get to the main nominees. First, we have Glenn Powell from Top Gun Maverick. We have Hong Chow in The Menu and The Whale, Academy Award nominated actress. We got Mia Goth from A24's X and Pearl. We got Jeremy Allen White from The Bear, going to star in The Iron Claw alongside Zac Efron and Harry Dickinson for A24. We have Austin Butler from Elvis, and then we have Harry Melling from Behind the Pale Blue Eye alongside Christian Bale, co-lead alongside Christian Bale in that movie. We are unanimous in our decision, Ricky Flex, and the DIPA goes to Austin Butler, star of Elvis, Oscar nominee. Ricky Flex, never a doubt. This is your boy. Talk him up.
Eventually, the next Superman. Some people are saying.
You're the only person saying that.
I'm the only person saying he should be Superman.
How is no other person saying this? Because
who is it connecting the dots?
He can't shake it. He can't talk like Superman now. He's gone.
I don't understand why no one sees this dude. Like, it's clear as day to me. He has the star power. He could play any role. He's going to be in so many things. He's got Bike Riders coming. He's got that Band of Brothers HBO Spielberg show coming along. He's got Dune 2 this year. And at the costume designer who's won multiple Oscars says he's fantastic in. And Dave Bautista said that he does not have the Elvis voice, so clearly he's a great actor. This guy's going to the moon, and he was the best performance out of anyone this year. Should have won an Oscar. No disrespect to our Plump Boy, but he's amazing. The fact that he's so young and this was his breakout role, it wasn't Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We said, hey, Tex was good in that, but we didn't ask like what's his name or anything. He wasn't like that good. We were like, that's the next Elvis. No, this was his breakout role. He was fantastic. All these other nominees were fantastic, but he played Elvis and he knocked it out of the park. You win the DIPA for breakout role star here.
You know, like the hype up that you get on Twitter where like the behind the scenes stories. I don't think there's been a more impactful behind the scenes story other than Denzel kind of like promoting this kid, where he's like the Iceman cometh, you know, he like Denzel going to Broadway, right? Showing that he still has the chops and like a stage type of atmosphere. And then he's just saying, this dude is the next guy. He's saying this dude has it. And I think it's because of the accent that people aren't even saying like, oh, he should be Superman. But when you see like watch Elvis and you see the hair flip, I'm just like, oh man, this guy could be it. He could be it. And you can really center a universe around this guy. It's just whether he's willing to do it upon playing and upon earning an Academy Award nomination, right? Rivaling for a win. I watched Elvis again recently, dude. The performance is 10 times better than the movie.
Yes.
Like the movie is hard to actually sit through. The overt editing of it, I didn't realize when I first saw it in theaters. I tried to watch it at home. I had to turn it off, dude. It was just so much change of pace, in terms of change of scenery. Which, as I said before, just over edited to the max. It kind of takes away from the performance at points. You got to really let it hit like the second act to really appreciate what Austin Butler's doing, right? You really rely on like his star power, the glitz, the glam, right? In those on stage performances. But when he really sinks into it, you're like, damn, this guy is absolutely electric.
Dynamite.
This guy is the breakout star. Did you have a second place here, Ricky Flex?
Second place was tough. I'll just say I rewatched Elvis Oscars day, the day of the Oscars as well, just to like confirm, like, was this the best performance before I actually go on a podcast and say it? Yeah, easily. Second place, if I really had to say one, man, it's tough. Mia Goth is something. Pearl and X was really something. But I know you haven't seen that. So for something that you've seen, my third place would be Jeremy Allen White. I know Hong Chow, but she's been around. It's just like this was like her breakout year, I guess. It's like, oh, she's amazing. But like Jeremy Allen White just took over The Bear, going to be an Iron Claw that we talked about. He's also going to be in a couple other movies, one starring next to Jessie Buckley. So like Oscar nominated actress as well. So like he's coming around, like getting that recognition. I think it's obviously it's all from The Bear. And yes, he was in Shameless, but like nothing to this nature. And then just Glenn Powell, like Sydney Sweeney movie coming along. He's going to be in the Most Dangerous Game movie as well. I think he's starring in that. So like, good for him. But like, he's also like kind of older. And this is like obviously a breakout year for him, but like nowhere near the same caliber as like a Jeremy Allen White or Mia Goth. So like those two would be like my next ups.
I think Jeremy Allen White is my second one as well, just because he was preheating in Shameless. And then when you were like, oh, this guy is like there's such a wide cast, and like William H. Macy kind of anchors the entire thing. But like, oh man, who's gonna like come out of this thing that's like, oh, people are gonna like look forward to their upcoming projects, or who's going to be a star who can lead their own series after this, and after that, who can lead their own movie. Jeremy Allen White is electric. Like he is amazing in The Bear. I think he won an Emmy for his performance in The Bear. Season 2 coming very, very soon. We got a teaser for it very recently, within the last week.
Oscars Day.
Oh my goodness gracious, Ricky Flicks. I cannot wait. He is the reason that show is so successful. I'm not sure if anyone could have propelled that show to that magnitude as like honestly, probably the most, I guess, universally recognized as the best show of 2022. Honestly. You know?
Yeah, I think so.
He's got people yelling, yes, chef, left and right.
Honestly, it's always going to carry with him.
Oh, yeah.
Until he gets too big,
I see him in the street, I'm going to be like, corner, and then just run into him.
Steady.
Glenn Powell, I like Glenn Powell. I loved
He's
him as
cool.
Hangman. I think they should make a Top Gun spinoff with him and Rooster. Have Tom Cruise on like the perimeter there, maybe passing on this franchise, like almost carry the torch type of mentality. Like
I like that.
it's almost inevitable that there's going to be right another movie off of Top Gun just because of like the buzz it had the entire year. You've talked about Mia Goth a lot. Hong Chau's like 43.
He's
You
like a
know?
J.K. Simmons type of rise.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. And I would love to see Hong Chau at the center of the next Knives Out trilogy. Or just no, excuse me, next movie to complete, not the trilogy. Like they're going to keep making these things,
Right.
especially with the Netflix deal. But I think Hong Chau could be a part of one of those films.
She would be great.
She's a great supporting actress. I don't know if she has the chops to lead something. Glenn Powell can lead something. Jeremy Allen White, I'm convinced, can lead something. Austin Butler can obviously lead something. He's done it in an Academy Award nominated film. So no, that's it for Breakout Star. Let's go on to a spin-off award. We had the best Willem Dafoe performance last year with the many roles he had, the 5 projects he appeared in. We now have transitioned. Willem Dafoe did not have 5 performances last year. He didn't have 4 performances last year. So we want to reward the hardest working dude in Hollywood. We're going to go with the best Colin Farrell performances. Academy Award nominated for The Banshees of Inisherin. Here's what the nominees look like for our boy, the Irishman himself. The Batman playing the Penguin. Banshees of Inisherin, 13 Lives, and After Yang. Yet another A24 film that gets recognized at the DIPAs. And split again. We are split again. And this I'm recognizing now as I'm looking at J-Man's pick. This is what makes the DIPAs the DIPAs. This is what separates us from the Screen Actors, the Oscars, the BAFTAs. Instead of The Banshees of Inisherin, which Dr. O nominated, right, as his pick, Ricky Flicks says the Batman. Ricky Flicks, defend your pick before we get into the winner.
The Penguin was unbelievable. It was great. He wasn't even the main villain. He took over. It was fantastic. He's getting his own spin-off series for a reason. The prosthetics makeup around that, we talked about it on the Oscars show, how that probably should have won an Oscar as well, just the makeup around that. But the performance was fantastic, and I can't deny it. The Banshees, he was also great, but it's a little dull, just like the person that he's playing. A little dull. Let's get a little crazy. Deepas, Penguin, Cobblepot, book it.
I think it's not us if we don't pick out of these two the Batman. Like that's what makes the drive-in the drive-in. Like we are advocates of the Batman, And if we didn't award best fight sequence, we already caved into like the Northman, the Berserker raid. I'm perfectly okay rewarding the Batman because it's my favorite movie of 2022. Banshees of Inisherin, full of great performances. Barry Keoghan, Brendan Gleeson, Carrie Condon. Colin Farrell was the best though. Like he was the best out of all of them. And he had the moments that require you to like almost think back on the themes of that movie. All right. Like your friends, like, are they always going to have your back? Are they only looking out for what they're going to like in the future when down the line, are they going to be alongside you or are they going to do what's best for themselves? I was thinking Banshees just because like, obviously that is the more, it's not the more flashy role. That would be go to the prosthetic infused like Penguin role, but it's like the more critically praised.
Definitely.
So I'm okay with bowing down to the Batman.
J-Man also went with the Penguin as well.
And that is the tiebreaker. That is the primary reason why. If this was a duke it out, shoot 'em up type of scenario where I have to combat Banshees against your pick, but it's more about we have the third party here. We have other awards to get to. The best performance by Colin Farrell is the Penguin from the Batman. I thought he was electric in every scene he was in. I'm using that term a little bit too much here, but he was a mob boss that like you were dying to see more of. It's like someone in a movie that was 3 hours long. You're like, I wish I got more Colin Farrell. I didn't wish I got more Paul Dano, even with like the limited screen time we got with him as the Riddler. I wanted to see more Colin Farrell, and we're getting him with his own show. The buildup of excitement, and HBO right? Produced, distributed series. I cannot wait. I'm okay with bowing down. Okay. Next, comeback of the year. Nominees are this is the year of comebacks. So like, and we are also split once again when it comes to this. And I'm not shocked that we are, and we might have to lean on J-Man again. And then this was a little strategic move with the Colin Farrell performance, where maybe Ricky Flicks is going to have to give in a little bit. The nominees for best comeback of the year are Miles Teller, Top Gun Maverick. We also should mention Spiderhead, right? He takes a little break, takes a little hiatus, comes back, right? Everyone knows the capabilities after Spectacular Now, Whiplash. He's got the chops. When is he going to make his triumphant return? Top Gun Maverick. We have Justin Long in Barbarian. Justin Long, where you been? He shows up in some of these like supporting roles in comedies, but then as the comedies go away, he's like doing like supporting and starring roles in these low budget horror movies that no one pays attention to. Don't ever watch the trailer for Tusk. Warning you now. Kate Hudson returning, right? It's almost like these, I don't want to say prestige, but more like notable performances that aren't just rom-coms. She's in Glass Onion, looking fine as hell. Daniel Radcliffe entering the sphere again as Weird Al Yankovic in Weird TV movie. Honorable mentions, we got Channing Tatum in his many cameo roles that we had. We had him in, he was the lead in, what's that? Lost City of D? Lost City.
Lost City.
I was thinking Lost City of Z. That was the James Gray movie.
Right.
The Lost City. And then and then Channing Tatum also, Magic Mike's Last Dance. Okay, finishing that trilogy alongside Steven Soderbergh. Then we have Jennifer Connelly in Top Gun Maverick as honorable mention. All right, so we are split. Dr. O says the winner for best comeback of the year should go to Plump Boy nominee Brendan Fraser for The Whale. Ricky Flicks says best comeback of the year should go to Ki-Wai Kwan from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Ricky Flicks, should we bring up J-Man here, or do you want to make your case for Ki-Wai Kwan over Brendan Fraser?
Let me just bring up my case for a second here to you.
Yeah. That's what I just said.
Brendan Fraser had a phenomenal year. He's been working his way back. No Sudden Move last year. The Whale this year. He's going to be in 2 years ago, I should say. No Sudden Move. Last year, The Whale. This year, Killers of the Flower Moon. All right. Similar role as No Sudden Move, very small, probably going to play a cop or something like that. So he was progressively working his way back, and then boom, he came back fully this year. Yes, he won the Oscar, but someone else also won an Oscar, Ki-Wai Kwan. Okay, but he wasn't working his way back. The man literally stopped working for 30 years with a couple roles here and there. And he just decided to go for this role. He got it. And then he took over. Was the best, in my opinion, the best performance in that movie. Ki-Wai Kwan, unbelievable performance in the Best Picture winner. Also an Oscar winner after a 30-year hiatus. 30 years. And he wasn't known for anything. Like Encino Man is the last major picture he was in. All right. Then Indiana Jones, Goonies, like as a kid actor. Has done nothing as an adult. Then 30 years goes by and he's like, I'm going to win an Oscar. That's an insane comeback. That's why he's my pick. I'm not saying he was better than a Brendan Fraser or more important than a Brendan Fraser as a role. I'm just saying as a comeback, I think it's more impressive. That's why he's my pick.
I hear you. This is the tightest race we're going to have because I'm going to feel awful. Right, they're gonna have no idea who wins this award because like they are off in the multiverse, as Brendan Fraser would say, right, from his Oscar speech. I think we didn't. I don't think we awarded this to Brendan Fraser last year. I think we said we were waiting until this year to do it. That's why I picked Brendan Fraser. Look back at the DIPAs from last year. Who won Best Comeback, Ricky? Are you looking?
Well, I think we said that about Plump Boy.
Saying Look. Did we write for best comeback? Must have been a category. What did we say last year?
Nick Cage, but like, come
Ricky,
on.
it's Brendan Fraser. That settles it. I told you. We said we were going to save best comeback of the year, right? For Brendan Fraser until he had the whale. He won the Oscar. There is no doubt we had this conversation.
We had it about
It
Plump
wasn't
Boy.
for Plump Boy. No, it was because we wanted to consider Brendan Fraser best comeback of the year. The whale hadn't come out yet. He hadn't won the Oscar. We knew he had aspirations. He pulls through and wins it. Ki-Wai Kwan, I get it.
30 years.
Ricky, Brendan Fraser. But like Ki-Wai Kwan just talked about this. He is nervous that nothing comes out of this. He is nervous about what comes next. He has a role in Loki. He's in American Born Chinese, a Disney Plus show. He's getting those opportunities. Brendan Fraser is officially here to stay. He was in the Soderbergh movie, No Sudden Move. It's like, oh man, yeah, this is great leading into, right? The Whale with Darren Aronofsky, but then he's going to be in Killers of the Flower Moon. Like the comeback is fully established. I'm not sure that Ki-Wai Kwan can have the mainstay establishment that Brendan Fraser has set. You know, he is the comeback. If he didn't get it last year, and if he doesn't get it this year, we are doing something wrong.
Okay.
We didn't see the Ki-Wai Kwan coming. We didn't see him coming.
We didn't see it coming because it's that good of a comeback.
I know.
But let me just say this. So J-Man, tiebreaker here, he picked Brendan Fraser, and he just sent me a text.
Bias.
Yes, bias. In this text, he said, easily Fraser, Oscar winning, Looney Tunes back in action 2026.
Yes.
I was like,
I had a discussion with J-Man about this. I saw him at a bar randomly, and I said, hey, there's a chance that we get more Looney Tunes back in action because of this Oscar win potentially. And he wins the Oscar. Who's ruling out Looney Tunes back in action too?
Not me.
You're not
over a
ruling
Space
out?
Jam movie? Yes.
Jimmy, I would
then
like
he
the
also
Looney
said
Tunes, more Looney Tunes.
So I was like, oh, like appreciate you coming on the Academy this year. Like, very appreciate you helping out here. Officially Academy member, yada, yada, yada. He goes, I will only be upset if the whale, Brendan Fraser, isn't comeback of the year.
It needs to be, Ricky.
So
we didn't report
I will
it
bow down to J-Man.
Legacy Oscar, Legacy DIPA, comeback of the year. Brendan Fraser. Congratulations, Fraser. Add it to your collection. Snaps around for Brendan Fraser. All right. He is nominated for a future category, so we won't build upon it too much. We are going on to Best Hollywood Feud. This one is an amazing category because it's just straight up fun. Okay. So the Best Hollywood Feuds of the year. We have Warner Brother Accountants versus the Batgirl crew after the cancellation of Batgirl. Next nominee, we have Will Smith versus Chris Rock. It happened this month. Oh, last year, obviously, with the slap. But then we have, obviously, the back and forth, right, of most recent memory with the Netflix special, Will Smith giving his reactions, Jada Pinkett Smith giving her reactions, Chris Rock, obviously, voicing his opinions. We next have Matthew Perry versus Keanu Reeves, the most random Hollywood feud, where Matthew Perry was remarking, right, his relationship with River Phoenix, and he was saying how it's a shame that River Phoenix can't walk this earth, but monsters like Keanu Reeves still do.
What the hell?
One of the wildest quotes in the history of recent memory. We got Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, the trial heard around the world from last year. Johnny Depp coming out on top. Johnny Depp honestly should have been a nominee for Comeback of the Year.
We'll
Comeback of the year
for a second.
He thought it was done.
We'll see next year.
When he gets his next movie role, like put him in the next Tarantino movie, put him in the last Tarantino movie.
My Lord.
Boom, Comeback of the Year. Then lastly, two more. Vin Diesel versus Justin Lin over the next Fast and Furious movie. Justin Lin exits the project over creative differences, them going at it. And then finally, Florence Pugh and Shia LaBeouf versus Olivia Wilde during the Venice Film Festival run of Don't Worry, Darling. So we're split once again. And I don't think J-Man's helping us out in this regard. Dr. O has Florence Pugh and Shia LaBeouf versus Olivia Wilde, pretty much the entire cast of Don't Worry Darling versus Olivia Wilde. And then Ricky Flicks has Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. Hear me out first, Ricky Flicks. Why it should be the cast of Don't Worry Darling versus Olivia Wilde. This was the most engaged we've been in Hollywood drama that didn't really concern the actual movie itself, right? We love the checkup with stories that go into, right, the making of movies and who's going to be involved. But now we have a major premiere at a major film festival for a highly anticipated movie, and we're seeing it obviously culminates with the spit of Harry Styles on Chris Pine that people don't know if it does or doesn't happen. And then we have the backstory of Shia LaBeouf, a canceled artist coming from, right, the doldrums, saying this is what happened. Like you have the video of Olivia Wilde coming forth to Shia LaBeouf. It's exposed on social media, saying that she supported him, and she's saying that he fired her and stuff like that when he left for creative differences. Obviously, her eventual lover, Harry Styles, take the stage. Florence Pugh not attending the Venice Film Festival, but then is attending the film festival, and she's not interacting with anyone but Chris Pine. This was drama upon drama, and this is what fueled like festival season for movies. So that's why I'm picking it. You had Depp first heard. Come here, tell me.
Took over the internet. Just absolutely took over the internet, and it's not related to a movie.
That's what I mean. That's why I can't win.
That's why I can win. How big it was, and it literally took over everything. TikTok, like it was amazing. The conspiracies, the videos that were breaking out, the alleged poop on the bed,
defecation,
just unbelievable. And again, it's Johnny Depp, who isn't necessarily like in tune with Hollywood right now, and Amber Heard. Allegedly, Aquaman 2 had cut down her lines, cut down her dialogue, like unbelievable transgression there for the DCU. But overall, like I had to pick Depp versus her because, yes, the Don't Worry Darling was great, but like I just thought there was an element to Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard that was just so unique, a courtroom drama. A courtroom sitcom, like that's what.
Not so even unique. A sitcom. It was a drama. It was a drama.
It was hilarious. And now, like Johnny Depp, maybe dating his lawyer. Like I don't know. Like I'm into all the gossip around it. I'm never into gossip except that we do the checkup every week. That's more Hollywood, roles. But like gossip. This was that, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I will say, J-Man picked Will Smith versus the slap here. I'm not on board with that personally. I think that was great moment, but as a feud,
they're not going at it.
Yeah, they're not.
It happened that one time, and now they're just like spouting out and like to their respective crowds.
Right, and I think that Vin Diesel, Justin Lin, they had their spat, but Justin Lin left the project. If he was still doing Fast X and they were still fighting right now, I think that would be a contender. But they're not. Justin Lin out, so that is out. Matthew Perry, Keanu Reeves, like that was never really like a feud. That was just like holy hell, Matthew Perry out of nowhere trying to sell your freaking book, and you're disrespecting Keanu Reeves, arguably the greatest action star since Tom Cruise,
most lovable actor.
Yeah, just unbelievable. And then I will say my biggest contender was the Warner Bros. Accountants versus Batgirl crew, because you had the Batgirl crew still talking about this to this day. It was mentioned at the Oscars. But I thought the Amber Heard and the Florence Pugh, Shia LaBeouf were above that.
What do we do? I think we have to go to the wheel, to be honest.
Wheel it up.
Florence Pugh and Shia versus Olivia Wilde. Dude, that was crazy. Everyone was chiming in. Like Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, I watched a couple hours of that. I would say yeah, no. Like I get home from work and I watched it. But I was just like, I'm like, we're not talking about defecation. I don't really care about this. And it's not centered around a movie. That's why like the Florence Pugh, we have this momentum going towards everyone thought was going to be a best picture contender. The follow-up for Olivia Wilde. And then we get like this overshadows the movie. It's crazy. I think it's very much worth a wheel.
Okay. The wheel's going.
And Ricky Flicks gets it. Oh, we have Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard as the feud of the year in Hollywood. Okay, congratulations to Johnny Depp and I guess Amber Heard. I don't know. I don't think she's getting a lot of congrats from
Yeah,
that this point on. Next category here. This is where we're getting real TDI. This is real deeper here. Randomist checkup. So we do the checkup for any new listeners. The checkup is the latest news in Hollywood. We do castings, we do trailer roundups. All right. What's going on? Latest news in Hollywood. We have one, a repeat, right? A second time nominee. We have the Batgirl cancellation from August, episode 131. Came out of nowhere. We did an emergency episode because of how big of a deal that was. It shows what is, I guess, snub we just had for Best Hollywood Feud. Hugh Jackman is returning as Logan in Deadpool 3. That news broke in September. We also have finally Joker 2, when we found out it was going to be a musical, that Lady Gaga was going to be playing Harley Quinn, that was famously played by Margot Robbie in the DC Extended Universe. We have the same award winner here. The winner for Best Random Checkup Moment. We have Joker 2 being labeled a musical with Lady Gaga. Ricky Flicks, this was never a doubt. This one, because we couldn't stop texting one another afterwards, right?
Didn't think it was real.
And it was right before we started recording. And oh, dude, I forgot. We found out mid-recording this was going to be a musical.
Right. I remember I brought it up and I was afraid to bring it up because I thought I was going to get duped and it was going to be like a bad look. I was like, I have to bring it up because this looks legit.
I'm going to have to dig in the archives to find that portion of the episode and plug it in right here because it was truly shocking. I didn't believe Ricky Flex. By the way, having those two on screen together, Electric Factory. Thoughts?
I'm sorry.
What happened?
My phone just blew up. I have to read this.
Uh-oh.
And it relates to what we were just talking about. So the Hollywood Reporter, I don't even know if I want to believe this, but like that's a reliable source.
Yo, I'm scared.
Just said Lady Gaga is in talks to star as Harley Quinn in Joker 2.
Shut up.
I'm not even joking. There's a Hollywood Reporter article out right now. And then it says listen to this. Wait. That's not even the craziest thing. Joker 2 will be a musical.
Get out of here. Send this to me now. Ricky,
I'm not effing you.
Don't do that. Oh my God. Disgusting Film tweeted this?
Dude, I'm telling you. Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga are in talks to star as Joker and Harley Quinn in a Joker musical sequel. Joaquin Phoenix can sing? Can Joaquin Phoenix sing? Is that the question?
What? Oh my God. Just when we do a 180 that we're excited for the sequel, potential 2 Jokers, Madness for 2, we're talking about a musical. I think it's not too late to pull the plug. I had to he brought it up on Discussing Film. I went to my Twitter page and I'm like, oh my God, I think it's actually true. I didn't know if it was like Discussing Film. I didn't know if there was two eyes in the Twitter account. I'm like, there's no way that they're making a sequel to like the most serious, right? The overly serious movie of 2019 into a musical. Guess what? It's being made right now. Lady Gaga is being dragged off set to sing at the Oscars. Joker 2 musical is the checkup moment of the year. It feels weird saying it right now.
It's so weird, but end of the day, it was never a doubter. Like Hugh Jackman, like that was awesome news, shocking news. But like, was it? Like we all knew like it was a possibility. He's close friends with Ryan Reynolds, and the links have always been there for his return. So it was like, it wasn't, I won't say inevitable, but it was just like, wow, like it actually did happen. But random, I don't know. Keoghan, the deleted scene, we knew he was in the movie, and then deleted scene, they actually released it. That was like another like shocker, but like wasn't random. I don't know. And then the cancellation of Batgirl, yes, like that is like that was the second place for me. $100 million, you just tax write-off.
We were on vacation, Ricky Flex, and we're like, we have to record. We have to record. This is huge. And we were so happy, though. We were like, we don't want this movie to exist.
That logo is atrocious.
The costume came out like in the winter, and we're like, oh my God, this is gonna be awful. Oh my gosh.
Like, sorry for our plump boy Brendan Fraser, and like Michael Keaton was supposed to be there, J.K. Simmons, but that movie was gonna be bad. Like, they said it was unwatchable through the test screen. They said it was unwatchable.
Oh my gosh. Unwatchable is enough for me. And like people are saying, like, oh, we have to see their vision. I'm like, no, we don't. No, we don't. And then, dude, in connecting to DC, Barry Keoghan, Joker deleted scene that like that he was going to be the next Joker, and then like he was basically that was announced before the movie because his brother had posted it saying he was going to be the next Joker before like the Batman was actually released. That was painful because I was like, that would have been an electric moment if I was like guessing who I was seeing, who I was hearing behind the glass, and he kind of ruined that experience for me. So like, F you, Barry Keoghan, brother. Yeah, we made the right pick there. But Batman cancellation, definitely number 2. Next one. I think this will be a quick one because I kind of regret putting this, but Wildest Ezra Miller story, right? It's our next award. We have 3. We have, oh my God, this actually makes it worth it. We have 6 different nominations
wait.
here.
But just hold on. I was got to interject here. The reason why we have this because we had the randomest checkup as an award, but there were so many Ezra Miller ones that were so random. It's like, crap, he would win every single time with any of these. We just have to like have a separate award for him just to honor how wild this is.
That's a strong interjection from you, Ricky Flex. Thank you for doing so. It was almost to a point where we would do a checkup. I would plan it all out during the day. And then we go to record and we're like, oh, Ezra Miller did something else. Oh, different report came out. Oh, he's doing karaoke and then like verbally abusing somebody. Oh, there's a home invasion in Vermont. Like there was just so many different moments where we planned on talking about something and we almost were bummed out every time there was an Ezra Miller story. Like, oh, crap, we got to talk about this because people somewhat want to hear about it, but not for too long. That's the same thing with this category. You know, Wildest Ezra Miller's story is definitely a spinoff of Randomest Checkup Moment. We got the January 2022 KKK Instagram video. We got the March 2022 Hawaiian karaoke video. We got the April 2022 Hawaiian assault. We got the June 2022 grooming situation that happened twice. We have the August 2022 Vermont burglary situation, the home invasion, and then we have finally the Flash press tour decisions, whether they're going to have him on tour, whether they're going to limit what he has to say, or they're going to scrap the movie overall. Ricky Flex, I think we're in agreement. J-Man's in agreement. The Academy is in agreement that the worst Ezra Miller moment, the wildest, goes to the Hawaiian karaoke moment in March of 2022. Dude, did you ever see the video of this?
Yeah, so just people that forget.
So entitled.
In March, charged with disorderly conduct and harassment over alleged involvement in 2 separate incidents that happened at a karaoke bar in Hawaii. And it was at like 11:30 at night. He got agitated by people singing karaoke at the karaoke bar. And he grabbed the mic from a 23-year-old woman singing karaoke and like attacked a guy playing darts. Absolutely like off the walls at this karaoke bar. And it's in Hawaii.
He's like running away from the cops, dude. In that video, he's like videoing himself, like I'm recording you, and he's like, the cops like, I don't care, stop running away from us. He's like, just relax.
And like
we just want to talk to you. He's like sprinting. I'm like, this guy is a superhero. This guy is playing.
He's a Flash. He's a runner. Yeah. But
Disney would never.
But it's like this is just 2022. Like people forget in 2020. He choked a woman outside a bar. Like, he choked a woman outside of a bar. So, like, just absolutely wild person. The karaoke is just the most random ass thing. The burglary, I had to think about. I will say. That was just like, what? But at the end of the day, it was always karaoke.
Yeah, it was just like, that's the part about it. It's not just karaoke. It's Hawaiian karaoke March of 2022.
Imagine you're just like going into karaoke, like you and like, you're going on like a group like as a group, you're going to karaoke night at some local bar. Might not be a great bar, but it's like, yeah, let's go to karaoke, rip it up a little bit, have a couple cocktails, maybe some Mai Tai, shout out Steve-O. And then you just got Ezra Miller taking the mic, attacking you, threatening you. Oh, God.
I think from now on, like, let's say that we eventually explode, we're going to Hollywood, being closer to it all, and we're going to karaoke, and we see in the corner Ezra Miller sitting by himself. I'm tapping our guys, and I'm saying, we got to go. We got to go. We cannot stay here during an Ezra Miller karaoke session.
We don't want to get in a running situation.
It's like the most like low key, but also fun time you can have going out with your friends, and you just got this guy verbally assaulting you who happens to be the Flash. That is insane. All right. I can't believe, and like he's arguably going to be, he is like the one almost DC character that has been almost guaranteed to carry over into James Gunn's new vision of DC. And when I just read off all those charges, if James Gunn, we know he's liked our tweets before, if he was listening to that, holy crap, he might be saying like, okay, they just had an award on how wild this dude is out there for their podcast. You might want to second guess that he's the guy, All right, cinematic event of the year. We have as our nominees Minions: Rise of Gru, that happened over the summer. Got a bunch of teenage fellas dressing up in suits going to see it. Bunch of frat boys going to see Rise of Gru. They grew up on the Minions. This is the culmination of the Minions franchise. I assume they're going to make about 100 more, but this is probably the biggest moment that they've had in theaters thus far. We have Wakanda Forever. Okay. MCU's second biggest release of 2022 behind Multiverse of Madness, I believe, at just shy of $900 million, but also honoring Chadwick Boseman. Yeah. Okay. And also just like the theatrical experience, like picking up after Black Panther. Then we have Avatar 2, The Way of Water, obviously, right? James Cameron, definitely going to be remembered when the next one comes out. Definitely going to be remembered. Avatar 2. People are going to remember that. And then Top Gun Maverick, starring Tom Cruise. As Steven Spielberg said, the movie to bring back people to the cinemas, Tom Cruise, the savior. We are unanimous. The winner for Cinematic Event of the Year goes to Top Gun Maverick.
Thank you, Tom Cruise. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom Cruise. 8 months in the theater, right? Survives into an Academy Awards push. You would say this was an amazing run that it had on the way to the Oscars, but then you recall the sweep that was Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is the movie that will be probably most remembered from 2022. Top Gun Maverick, Event of the Year, save movie theaters. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, Minions, that was very funny in the summer. That was great.
That was the thing.
And I think you mentioned the other two. Avatar is $2 billion. Like, congrats, but still. And then Wakanda Forever, you mentioned it already. Honoring Chadwick Boseman, so hard to do, but they did it, and the anticipation levels were high. And I thought they did a great job with Chadwick Boseman. So great job all around. But Top Gun Maverick was just a phenomenon.
All right, we are on to our final 4 categories here. We have most disappointing motion picture, which is one of my favorite categories that we do here at the Drive-In Podcast. We have our nominees: Don't Worry, Darling from Olivia Wilde. We have Babylon from Damien Chazelle. We have Amsterdam from David O. Russell. We have Blonde from Andrew Dominic. The Gray Man from a director I don't know.
The Gray Man, wasn't it the Russo brothers?
Oh my God, it was. Oh my God.
Like Doctor.
Oh my God. And then Black Adam. I don't know that one either. Who was Black Adam?
It's some random dude. I don't know. Dudes. A woman. Was it a woman?
No, definitely not. So I can't believe the Gray Man was the Russo brothers. I'm so used to be having them as producers ever since 2019.
Jean Colette Serra.
Yeah,
Black
Colette
Adam.
Serra. Yeah, Jean Colette Serra did Black Adam. I apologize. Holy crap. All right, most disappointing motion picture. Ricky Flicks and Dr. O are divided. J-Man sides with one of us. Dr. O has Blonde as the most disappointing motion picture of the year. Ricky Flicks has Don't Worry, Darling. Ricky Flicks, do you want to make your case for Don't Worry, Darling?
We were comparing Olivia Wilde after Booksmart to like a Jordan Peele, and this movie to like a Jordan Peele movie, and it gave us what it gave us. I think Babylon, the first hour, probably was the best hour of a movie I saw this past year, so I can't give it to that. Amsterdam, David O. Russell's hit or miss a lot of the times. So like this being his honestly worst movie, most likely. Not complete shocker, but how bad it was a shocker, but still not as bad as the anticipation levels of a Don't Worry, Darling. Black Adam, The Rock starring in a serious role. Yeah, I think that was my last pick, to be honest. The Gray Man, Russo brothers, again, very hit or miss, more miss than hits, to be honest. And then it comes down to Blonde versus Don't Worry, Darling. For me, I picked Don't Worry, Darling for the reasons I laid out above, the cast as well. Blonde, Andrew Dominic, I don't know, a Netflix movie, I just didn't trust it. And I had high expectations for it, but like not to the same extent as like a Don't Worry, Darling. Especially like the cinematic event of Don't Worry, Darling was just such a disappointment. So end of the day, I went with Don't Worry, Darling.
Okay, so I am very vehement that Blonde should win this. It did lead to an Academy Award nomination for Ana de Armas. I think this movie was supposed to be us crowning Ana de Armas and saying like, oh, she is going to be Hollywood's next big thing. And I think also if this was most disappointing actors, I think in the toughest actor award, toughest years, we should have put Ana de Armas on there with Deep Water and Blonde, right? She is a late entry into that category. Honestly, I'm going to regret not putting her there initially. This movie, I love Andrew Dominic. I love the assassination of Jesse James, right? One of my favorite movies of the early 2010s. I guess like 2000s, excuse me. One of my favorite movies of the mid 2000s. Cinematography seems to be a special. We have the black and white primarily in Blonde. The movie was so painful to watch. It's not what we were expecting from a Marilyn Monroe movie. We got talking fetuses coming out of nowhere. We got a feminist story that doesn't feel like a empowering story whatsoever. I don't know. I like, to me, and then you had like the NC-17 rating, right? It's moving to Netflix, right? It has people excited to see it, but then it has like such terrible moments. JFK specifically, those moments will haunt in my brain. The most unrewatchable movie of 2022 is probably Blonde. And then in terms of Don't Worry, Darling, I almost grouped Don't Worry, Darling in the same category as Babylon, where there are some positive traits to that movie of Don't Worry, Darling. Blonde, there is no part of me wanting to rewatch that. I consider watching Don't Worry, Darling. I hated the twist in Don't Worry, Darling, right? I won't give it away in case our listeners haven't heard it, but Blonde, just nothing redeeming about it. Do you think we have to go to our tiebreaker here, our third member of the Academy?
I'll tell you what. I know J-Man, he picked Don't Worry, Darling. But you are right about the rewatchability. I don't think I'll ever revisit Blonde.
And Don't Worry, Darling is kind of like a aesthetically pleasing movie to watch. Very
Chris
colorful.
Pine's good in it.
Yeah. The set design, very good.
I might revisit Don't Worry, Darling, just to see how is it better in like 3 years?
I also think we're going to have to make a trade in a second.
Okay, well, I'll give you Blonde here, but I think the rest of our categories I'm pretty adamant about. So
yeah, that's what I mean. I'm like, because we're about to be divided on the next category too. I think this is a nice trade-off.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
So I think a Blonde, disappointing, right? Expected better from Ana de Armas. Maybe she's not what we thought she was going to be. Next category, Best Trailer. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is the nominee alongside Wakanda Forever, two MCU movies. We have All Quiet on the Western Front from director Edward Berger. All right. Numerous time Oscar winner from this previous Oscars that happened a week ago. Super Mario Brothers. We got Top Gun Maverick. Barbie from Greta Gerwig. Oppenheimer from Christopher Nolan. And then Avatar 2 from James Cameron. We are divided here. Dr. O has Wakanda Forever as the best trailer of the year. Ricky Flicks has Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It's an MCU battle. It's an MCU face-off. Ryan Coogler, James Gunn. This is one where where we are divided. The tiebreaker, J-Man has Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I'm just going to tell you firsthand just because, right, we're running out of time here. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is the winner. I'll let you defend the winner in a second, right, and why it deserves it. Wakanda Forever, though. Like the music, collaboration, the set design, the costume, like the reveal of Black Panther, the question marks after that trailer. Who's in the suit? Is it Nakia, right? Is it Shuri? Is there multiple Black Panthers? When in the timeline is this being set? It just felt like there was exponentially more conversation that spurred from this trailer. So many questions, wondering what is this going to entail? Everything that's great about a Marvel trailer, I thought was part of Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, I would say the MCU, James Gunn, last movie in the MCU. Guardians, last time they'll be officially everyone in the MCU. There's going to be some deaths here. You get Baby Rocket. You have Adam Warlock, the High Evolutionary. It hit you, man. The music, again, James Gunn's specialty, the music. I thought it was unbelievable trailer. I honestly think it was like a perfect trailer. When it came about, like, sure, Wakanda Forever, I think you hit all the right parts. The slow-mos, the mix of the music as well. Unbelievable. The clear inspiration, the clear honoring of Chadwick Boseman. But with Guardians, it has that like massive concluding feel. And I would say besides Captain America, the best trilogy of the MCU, this is what it's looking like. So this is really important. And it has that feel around this trailer. And we all love these characters. I'm not saying we don't love Black Panther. You could argue that Black Panther, yeah, I would say Black Panther's probably more beloved than Guardians. But like Guardians are just so important to the MCU of how it changed the game for the MCU, that original film. And this is the culmination of that with Adam Warlock, which might be a huge part of the MCU going forward. James Gunn's last stance. I had to pick this.
In the meantime, Space Hog. That, I think, to me, that's the argument, because it nailed like the emotionality of what this movie is going to be. It's going to be so, and like this is like everything is hinging upon this movie, and like this trailer gave confidence to MCU fans. Like, hey, we might be all right. Like, we might be in a good space, and there is that buildup because James Gunn's gone after this. Like, and there's no shot of him coming back. We lost him for a second in the production of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Got him back, luckily, but this is for sure the last ride for all these characters. It definitely captured that tone there. All right, on to the last two categories. We are on to our two most, I guess, highly anticipated of the DIPAs. We have Guest of the Year. And we have 6 potential nominees here. I'll read through them, and then Ricky Flicks will walk through the process that we took in order to choose who the winner is going to be. Last year, we decided to do whichever listener, right, of the guests listened to this episode, heard the potential nominees. We had Scotty Furious coming out on top. He's DMing Ricky Flicks saying, "Did I just win the DIPA?" And Ricky Flicks said, "Hell yeah." So the 6 nominees for Guest of the Year. We have Mayo from episode 102, literally 100 episodes ago. Insanity. From the draft of characters we'd saved from death. We had one of the most interesting drafts we've ever done. Go back and listen to it. Nikki Lee, episode 92, where we did the Batman versus the Dark Knight. One of our great movie blockbuster battles that we've done on this podcast. We have episode 163 from Scotty Furious, the reigning champ, reigning DIPA winner for Black Adam and the power ranking of DC characters. We have Big Mike for episode 140 for the Lord of the Rings top billing draft in anticipation of the Rings of Power, and episode 80 with the Batman deep dive. We then had Ali, first of his name, episode 147, House of the Dragon, episode 5. He took Ricky Flicks' spot for the first time ever in the Drive-In podcast history. And then Johnny Sims, who did episode 158, cameo appearance, and/or episode 6. We had to sell him on expanding his taste in the Star Wars universe, bringing him back to watch Andor. Guess what? He loved it. Ricky Flicks, can you tell the listeners how we are deciding Listener of the Year?
Yeah, so last year, if you all remember, if you're new, what we did is we tweeted it out, or like our promo for the pod, but and included in the episode, we wanted to see who of the nominees were listening. So we said you have to tweet at us, like quote tweet our promo tweet and say like I'm the DIPA winner or whatever we said. And the first one to do it wins. And Scotty Furious came through on top there. Quickest trigger fingers there. This year, we're going to do a little different. Instagram this year. Who liked, since the DIPA, or since the last episode of our special guest, our nominee. So the latest one was episode 163 with Scotty Furious. So ever since that graphic was posted on Instagram, that Instagram post, till today, March 16th, who has liked the most Instagram posts from the Drive-In Pod out of our nominees? That is the DIPA Award winner. I'll throw it back to Dr. O.
The winner for DIPA Guest of the Year goes to the co-host of episode 147, House the Dragon, episode 5, On Ali, first of his name. The DIPA Guest of the Year. Snap it up.
Wow. I didn't know who won. I only had my names, and I gave them to Dr. O. So I didn't know who won. I didn't know the count. But On Ali, first of his name, congratulations. Thank you for your presence on episode 147, House of Dragon, episode 5, replacing me for that episode. What a win.
Fascinating win. It was so exhilarating going through the pages here. Like the first post was Black Adam, and I had Big Mike, Mayo, and On to count up. And it was a tight race between Mayo and On for the most part. Big Mike showed up for the first Black Adam release. He gave a like. Big Mike is our brother, by the way. Big Mike is our brother. And we're going to talk about Big Mike in a sec because I have some very revealing evidence that he is not going to want to hear when he listens to this podcast. On liked 30 posts from the Drive-In podcast since November. 30. And we want to commend him for his performance, how he not only appeared on the pod, but supported the pod. That's why you are a guest of the year, the guest of the year. And it was interesting because when I started to first look, On wasn't really appearing. And then all of a sudden he went on a goddamn run. He went on a goddamn run of like 30 posts in a row. He was invested. Didn't matter if it was the Rex. Didn't matter if it was clips. Didn't matter if it was top billing drafts or previews like to the next episode. He was supporting the pod. Mayo kind of faded.
Oh,
he was strong to start. Mayo was strong to start, but then he faded a little bit. He stopped liking the posts, and that's going to cost him, right? Probably the guest of the year. Big Mike, we have beef with.
Oh, no.
Are you ready for this? Since the Black Adam review, Big Mike, our brother, has liked one post from the Drive-In Pod. One post. I'm willing to call him out. I think he needs to hear this, you know? And we talk, it doesn't make him not a good brother, but he's not a good supporter of the pod. What does that say?
And he was on the pod not once, but twice.
He was the only person to show up multiple times on this podcast. He didn't have the co-hosting duties of it on Ali, first of his name. But he showed up in a draft. He showed up in the Batman Deep Dive, one of our most listened to episodes of all time. Check it out. It's one of our best.
Episode 80.
I'm just more than disappointed. Seeing, like, you have no idea. Like, you have an idea because you're Mike's brother. But, like, me looking through and typing in each post, search likes. And Mike didn't show up ever since that first episode that we were, like, starting with. Crushing.
That's tough to hear. That is tough to hear because he sends us memes all the time. Over social media.
On Instagram. On Instagram.
That is tough because he's a
Dude,
big
I'm pretty
meme guy.
sure he might send them to the drive-in instead of our personal accounts.
He's a big meme guy. He's one of the best out there out of like all my friends with the funniest memes. So that is kind of crushing to hear because I know he's online. But you know what? You got to earn it. You know, I know Johnny Sims, Scotty Furious, like Nikki Lee, like 30, that was a lot. I will say, like, that's a great job. Like, that is a great
That is a lot.
That is a lot. So, like, no disrespect to you three that I counted.
He went on an absolute
but
heater.
On earned it. He earned the guest of the year.
That is a lot. That's the majority of posts since we've had since the new year. Like, he is there. He earned it. I'm so proud of him. I hope he listens to this. I know he'll be liking the post. That's all I know. So, guest of the year, congratulations on Ali, first of his name. Can't wait to have you on for season 2 of House of the Dragon, which whenever that comes out. All right. Can't wait to see who joins that eclectic group, right? So, like last year, Scotty Furious was in that group. Mayo was in that group.
Mayo, Nikki heartbreaker Lee, again.
Nikki Lee, newcomer. Big Mike, newcomer. Johnny Sims, on. We're expanding. Hopefully, we bring that to 8 to 10 names going into the next DIPA.
Yeah.
8 to 10. That's what we're looking for.
Let's get rolling here. I love
that. Exactly. And who knows how we're going to measure it. Everyone thinks that, they're going to be listening to this podcast. All of those nominees think that they're going to be like, I can listen to the podcast and be the winner. I'm like, nobody. It's already been decided.
Honestly, Mayo. My God.
I'm putting the timestamp strictly for guest of the year, just so they can listen to this.
Mayo, for after last year's heartbreaking loss, and like I feel bad for Mayo because last year I remember him tweeting out.
The pod.
He came in second last year. I think J-Man also was in the mix last year. I feel bad for those guys, but this year Mayo coming in second again. That's tough.
J-Man already is a nominee for next year with his contributions as the tiebreaker.
He's already
this podcast.
He's a part of the DIPA Academy. That's arguably better.
Oh yeah. I think that there's something else in the mix here. I think that's also something we have to consider. It's like if you are a DIPA of the year, like guest of the year, you join the Academy. Like honorary guest J-Man, and now like Scotty Furious is on it. Because he's a former DIPA winner. And then on. It's the first of his name is on the DIPA Academy. He's in it. He's a member. I think we should get like cards. Maybe we do like business cards that say like DIPA Academy member. Yeah, I think that's good.
Now Mayo's going to be even more pissed.
Now when this podcast hits it big, we're going to have like those guys coming on our back saying, dude, I'm a part of the DIPA Academy. Like I need to be a part of this, we're getting signed by the Ringer. It's like, I'm coming with you guys, right? Like you're with
our
us.
Academy with us.
All right. It is now time for the award of the episode, the one that we build up for, the one that you all came to listen for, and that is the Plump Boy of the Year, a category that was made famous by Jesse Plemons. When Nez was still on the podcast, we said Plemons, Plump Boy. Like usually, like how do we define this, Ricky Flex? It's more of I'll say my definition. You can add to it. It's usually an actor that is not the most he's not the sexiest dude, right? He's like the guy who's a little bit overweight, right? Is proud of who he is a part of great films, is the key part of great films, and we look forward to everything that he or she is in. We got to look at expanding this, making this more gender neutral for sure. So the so any other definitions of Plump Boy? What else?
Yeah, I would say like Plump Boy, maybe a little on the heftier side, at least to start how we knew them, or I guess just like what they were when we were calling them Plump Boy, but also like they bring that same energy. They might not get that recognition from critically that they should, or that popularity that they should. And now
we shine them.
Yes. But now this is our third year of this podcast. I think it might be a little different now when we read these names, but we were there since day one. So when they were at their lows, so-called lows. So when we read out these names, like, and you're a new listener, just know that this has been a long time in the making. This isn't our first DIPAs and everything.
No, these people that are ingrained with the success of the Drive-In podcast, and we ride with them no matter what. And just because, and we're about to read a couple names here, just because they don't look the way they used to, right? Some of them have improved, right, in terms of their body, and like they've done well to like eat healthy and become like just healthier human beings. We want to like reward them too. You're not out of the Plump Boy Club, right? We don't judge people physically and when people are trying to improve themselves. So, nominees, 3 nominees are returning. We have a newcomer though. We have a newcomer. I'm so excited. This is honestly this is my favorite part of the DIPA Awards here, and I can't wait to reveal the newcomer to the Plump Boy of the Year nominees. First off, Plump Boy of the Year. We have Paul Dano. Paul Dano, supporting character in The Fablemans, plays Spielberg's dad, pretty much. And we also have him in as the villain in the Batman, as the Riddler, Plump Boy number 1. Not number 1, excuse me. That reserves someone else. Plump Boy number 1 is actually Jesse Plemons, who's also a nominee here. Jesse Plemons, what did he do this year? He did Windfall.
That's it.
Oh man, he's definitely not the winner.
He's skinny again. I think
that's went to like you could do nothing and you're still nominated.
Of course, he's our Plump Boy.
And he's skinny now.
If you're a Plump Boy, you're always nominated.
But the thing about like Jesse Plemons is the reason why we have to continue to have him here. It's named after him, right? Plump Boy Plemons. Like it's
once a Plump Boy, always a Plump Boy, even when you're skinny like he is now.
We always say that. Once a Plump Boy, always a Plump Boy, right? He's skinny now, but he'll forever be our Plump Boy. Next up, Brendan Fraser, right? The second Plump Boy. Paul Dano was actually number 3. Okay. Plump Boy number 2 is Brendan Fraser, Academy Award winner, DIPA winner. We've already talked about him. And now for the newcomer. And as much as I want to name the winner, the newcomer has me more excited, right? The newcomer to the Plump Boy of the Year award is, may I introduce Paul Walter Hauser. Paul Walter Hauser. We snap for a nominee. Paul Walter Hauser, Golden Globe winner for Blackbird, Apple TV series, alongside Taron Egerton, someone that's been on our radar for a bit now. Okay. And we're excited to see what he's going to do in the future. He's had some great supporting roles, comedic roles in movies, whether it be Cruella, whether it be I, Tonya, right? He's someone who seems to has an ability to steal the screen, and now Blackbird. Paul Walter Hauser. Any thoughts before we go on to the winner here, Ricky, folks, on our new contender?
Richard Jewell. Also, that brief moment, and I think you should leave that one skit. The very funny skit. But just real quick, past few weeks, I haven't really been able to get off like what I've been watching recently because we've been jumping right in with Oscar season and everything. I've known that Paul Walter Hauser is probably going to be our next Plump Boy. So I've been watching Blackbird. And I'm about to finish it. It's really good. Blackbird is a great show. Awesome Apple TV show. And Paul Walter Hauser is the main reason why. Great performance. Reminds me of Mindhunter. Honestly. Reminds me of Mindhunter at times. He is well deserving and should be a contender for this award this year.
Woo!
So congrats to him.
What's he got coming up? Do you know? Is there anything that he has like on the horizon here?
So he has this one movie I know. It's called The Instigators. Hong Chau's in it. It's a Doug Liman. It's a Doug Liman movie with Matt Damon. Hong Chau's in it, and Paul Walter Hauser's also in it. And Casey Affleck.
Wow.
So it's
Doug
like
Liman, Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's about, so I'm reading the synopsis, 2 robbers who must go on the run with the help of one of their therapists after a theft doesn't go as planned. So I think Hong Chau might be the therapist and Matt Damon, Walter Hauser, the robbers, or one of those people are the therapists. Looking forward to that, though. But again, congrats on being nominated this year and joining the Plump Boy community.
And I think it's time we get to the winner, because as much as we just talked about that new nominee, how excited we were, how exhilarated we have to get to the Plump Boy of the Year. And there was no other choice other than Brendan Fraser.
Yep.
Snap it up. Brendan Fraser, Plump Boy of the Year. I don't think he won it last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Who won
Jesse
it last year?
Plemons won last year. Power of the Dog.
That's good.
And yes.
And yeah, Power of the Dog. He got it last year. Academy Award nomination. Paul Dano, close second. Paul Dano, close second, right? With the Fablemans and then the Batman, your villain in the Batman movie. Like you obviously, you're the real deal. And then when you are playing Steven Spielberg's dad, that's a lofty task to take on. Brendan Fraser, though, the whale, literally played a Plump Boy in a movie.
Like, never a doubt.
Yeah.
That's,
He was the guy. I think we got to give credit. Paul Dano improving himself too. He looks like he's not like the Plump Boy that he initially was on the horizon to be.
yep.
Like he slimmed down too.
He's getting
but once
that.
a
He's
Plump
getting
Boy,
the
always
nice
a Plump
hair.
Boy.
The nice hair. You know, he's caring about it. I will just say, like when I was doing the comeback of the year as well, I was thinking about Plump Boy as well. You know, I was like, oh, I'm being like classic Oscars here. They're gonna win here, so let's give the award here a little bit because Fraser. This is also like, come on. Like
I was thinking about balancing it out too. Like Wai Kwan gets comeback, Brendan Fraser gets Plump Boy. But I remembered that conversation we had. Brendan Fraser, we didn't give it to him because of The Whale, and then he wins The Whale. He wins Best Actor for The Whale. You have to reward him. You had no choice.
Well, he deserves Plump Boy of the Year. Well deserved.
does.
The most prestigious DIPA award. Our Best Picture. Plump Boy of the Year. Brendan Fraser. Congratulations.
What a DIPA. What a DIPAs. The second annual Ricky Flicks. We got through it, right? We introduced some exciting new categories. Maybe that will live on. Hopefully not the Ezra Miller categories, but like maybe we'll infuse some new ones too. Okay. Thank you for joining us. Make sure wherever you're listening, you follow us on the platform you prefer. Make sure that if you're watching on YouTube, you like, comment, and subscribe. If you comment, we'll comment back, just like I commented to all those Everything Everywhere All at Once fans. I already got notifications. Sorry. In the meantime, make sure you're also following us for all the latest movie news at the Drive-In on Twitter and Instagram. Next week, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Not to mention, we have an exciting checkup featuring the likes of the new projects from Quentin Tarantino, Paul Thomas Anderson, James Gunn. You want to hear Guillermo del Toro. Oh my God, the list goes on. Check out the checkup, all the latest movie news in Hollywood. We got you covered. So for Ricky Flicks and Dr. O and the rest of the DIPA Academy, until next time, we will smell ya.